Hi, Maria here. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to share with you some amazing fragrances that were sent to me from a company called Oakcha. Now they make beautiful extrait de parfum inspired versions of high-end luxury fragrances. So I can't wait to share with you my experience. And before I get started, if you haven't subscribed, please feel free to hit that button. Join the Weird and Wonderful family. It would be amazing to have you part of the community because the community is awesome. Without further ado, let's get into this. So thanks to Nisha from Spicy Looks, first of all, for kind of, putting me on the company's radar. They subsequently let me pick 4 of their fragrances to try out. So I can't wait to share with you my findings. Now, the one thing that I'll say about inspiration houses or dupe houses is that it's rare that I've found a dupe to be 100% spot on. So I'm really particular. So it's rare that I actually ever find one that I go, wow, I can't tell the difference. Because they're inspired by, and really fragrance is so subjective that what the nose perceives in a certain fragrance and then reproduces isn't necessarily going to be what someone else smells. That said, I think that these are amazing quality fragrances. The prices on these fragrances are amazing. So instead of paying around $250 to $450, you're going to be paying around $40, $40 to $50 depending on Canada or US. So let's get into the fragrances. So the first fragrance that I want to talk about is the inspired version of Princess by Kilian. Now this fragrance is kind of a powdery matcha tea. There's some peach in it, there's ginger, there's vanilla, there's marshmallow. I definitely get that marshmallow vanilla. I get a little bit of that kind of brightness. There's some lemon on the top, so some of that ginger peach lemon feel in the very beginning. But I definitely get that matcha tea feel throughout the whole entire time of the perfume, plus that marshmallow feel. So it's cozy, it's inviting, it's warm, it's a little sensual. Now, Secret Duchess was, I would say, my least favorite out of all of these, just as far as it being a close representation. Now, when I smell these two side by side, I find them actually quite different. So maybe 75% similar. It's really like the numbers are arbitrary because it's kind of whatever your nose picks up. I find that Princess is a little bit sweeter than Secret Duchess. I'm not getting quite as much of the matcha. I'm getting a little bit more of the vanilla and maybe some more of the benzoin and a little bit more floral in this one than in Princess. That said, if I don't smell them side by side and I just spray this in the air, then I definitely get that Princess kind of vibe. So this one is the least similar. It's still a nice fragrance, but I just don't think it's that close to Princess. I prefer the Princess over Secret Duchess. So that's my thought on this one. So next fragrance I wanted to try was Oakcha's rendition of Lira. Now, Lira has become one of my favorite fragrances. I just absolutely love it. To me, it comes across as this lemon pound cake, super gourmand, a little bit smoky, so a smoky lemon pound cake. I am absolutely in love with it. Now, the top notes of Lira are blood orange, bergamot, and lavender. I don't get a lot of the lavender, and to me, the notes just end up smelling like lemon. I don't get any orange. Then it has cinnamon, licorice, and jasmine in the middle, and the base is caramel, vanilla, and musk. So like I said, it smells like a delicious kind of smoky lemon pound cake, and I'm absolutely in love with it. A little bit gooey. Oh, it's just delicious. So I find it really warm and comforting, slightly sexy, and so I was really excited to try Oakcha's rendition, Italian Cello. I'm happy to say that this one is really, really close to the original. The only thing that I would say is that I find when I smell them side by side, I notice the orange a little bit in Italian Cello, whereas Lira just registers completely lemony to me. Now, it's possible that it registers more lemon because it's got maybe a little bit more of the anise or something like that in it. But this Italian Cello is just, to me, a really, really great option for duping. It's really good. So if you don't want to spend the moolah on something like lira, I think Italian Cello is an excellent option. The other thing is that I found that this was longer lasting than lira, even though lira is a really, really decent longevity. Italian Cello definitely won out in the longevity department. The next fragrance that I wanted to try was their rendition of Love Don't Be Shy by Kilian. So Love Don't Be Shy, it's kind of an orange blossom neroli balm to me, but then in that is this kind of vanillic marshmallow feel. So it feels kind of fluffy, definitely has that orange blossom. It smells very romantic. It smells alluring. It's quite classy smelling, and it's like it would make a beautiful signature fragrance. Trying out Sweet Addict, I'm happy to say that, like, side by side, these are virtually identical. So Love Don't Be Shy, it's not one that I've worn tons in the past, but as far as like smelling them side by side on my skin, I literally couldn't tell the difference. The only thing that I would say is the Sweet Addict by Oakcha definitely performed better. So it was a little stronger and it lasted longer. I found Love Don't Be Shy to actually last quite a long time on my skin too. After about 6-7 hours wear, this one was significantly stronger. As far as how they developed, I thought they developed very similarly. So as far as a dupe is concerned, this was the closest as far as smelling, like side by side smelling them. This was the closest for sure. I was really impressed, and if anything, I preferred Sweet Addict. It's somehow, I think in the dry down seemed to have a little bit more of the marshmallow in it. So was really, really impressed with this one, and I'm really glad I have it. The last fragrance that I tried from Oakcha was their rendition of Intoxicated by Kilian. So I chose a lot of Kilian fragrances this time. I don't know if Oakcha has Black Phantom, but I really wished I would have gotten that one. I'd never smelt Intoxicated. Well, I actually had. I'd actually sampled it before, but totally forgot. So I decided to go with it. I looked at the notes and thought, ooh, this is going to be something that I'm going to really love because it has cardamom, there's coffee in it, nutmeg, and cinnamon. Now, the problem with this one is not Oakcha's version, but simply it's too masculine for my taste. So I tried Intoxicated by Kilian on one hand, Lovesick, which is their version, on the other, and I just found both to be really rather masculine. Now, as they dry down on the skin, what I find is Kilian's version is definitely a little hint sweeter. But overall, they're really, really close. What I find with this, with these notes is, like, when I was thinking cardamom, a lot of times when I think cardamom, I think of my one grandma. She made these buns. We were Norwegian, and so she always put cardamom in her buns. And they were the best buns I've ever tasted in my life. Like, seriously, they were phenomenal buns. I always loved the cardamom that was in them. But what I found was the cardamom that was in those buns created this sweetness, like just a sweet spice. And that's what I'm always looking for when I go to cardamom as a note. The problem is a lot of times I find that cardamom can go very, very green and almost fresh. And I'm not a fan of that version of cardamom. I prefer kind of a sweeter cardamom. So what I found in this one was in Lovesick, in both of them, the cardamom was a lot greener than what I would prefer. And as a result, I find it a little bit fresh and quite a lot masculine. So although anyone could wear them, I would say that Lovesick or Intoxicated as a fragrance is a masculine leaning. I don't get the coffee. I don't get a lot of the coffee or the cinnamon. Mainly get that cardamom. Now, that said, this is a pretty decent dupe of Intoxicated, so if you love this one, this would be worth checking out. The only thing I would say is that I find this one in the opening to be a little more green and a little bit more cardamom heavy even than this one. As they dry down though, they become a little bit more yummy. So I found the longevity on this one to be better. So Oakcha's longevity again was phenomenal. And it takes a little longer to get to where this one goes. So this one, as it dries down, it almost has sweeter cardamom, almost chocolate feel is what ends up happening in Intoxicated. In Lovesick, it takes a lot longer to get that dry down. Likely because there's so much more oil in this. So even when you spray it on your hand, the oil, like the perfume concentration is significantly more in this one. So it takes a little bit longer to get to that warmer, sweeter dry down. But when it finally gets there, you get that same kind of intoxicating cardamom chocolate blend. So as far as which one I like the best, I think I like Lovesick better. Just because it's so potent, and when you get to that dry down, then that dry down lasts longer. That said, I'm not really a fan of this scent profile and will likely give this to someone else because yeah, it's not my favorite. But as far as the job is concerned, they did a decent job. So overall, really love these. The one that I would say that was probably the most disappointing as far as being close would be Secret Duchess, which is the princess version. If you just spray it on your own, I definitely get the princess vibe, but smelling them side by side, they're not quite close enough to me. So that one was a little bit of a disappointment. Lira, fantastic. The dupe for Love Don't Be Shy to me is spot on. Intoxicated, pretty close, but I just don't really like the scent profile. Lots of amazing offerings. They've got Delina, they've got Creed versions, they've got all sorts of things to choose from. So definitely worth checking out. I want to make it clear, Oakcha did not sponsor this. They were just kind enough to send me these fragrances. And I'm just giving you my honest thoughts. So that is it. Overall, really impressed. I think the thing that I'm most impressed about is the quality and the concentration. Like, man, these things last amazing. And out of all of them, I would say my favorite dupe, it'd be a toss-up between Love Don't Be Shy, because that one's so freaking close, and Lira, because I just plain love Lira. So Italian Cello, very, very close. So those are my thoughts. Have you tried Oakcha? What are your thoughts? Please leave them in the comments for everyone to read and look over. Thanks again to Oakcha for sending these my way. Really appreciate it. And I hope you have an amazing week, and we'll talk to you soon.